Jedd Johnson. Of course, you know me as Napalm, and this is episode 100 of This Weekend Grip, brother. I'm joined today, as always, by the esteemed Alan Heineck, Esquire, and James, Professor Crowbar Retarides, along with, well, right now, one special guest, but we will have two men who really need no introduction and have been spreading the grip gospel for quite some time now. John Jujimufu Call and Tom Boyden.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Well, thank you guys so much for having me here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. And we're going to jump right into this interview with these two extraordinary gentlemen. But first, I need to take a couple minutes for some announcements. Number one, thank you to everyone who jumped on the Grip Task Force and the Grip Authority during my North American Grip Championship sale. We've got about 20 people into these programs at my last count, and I can't wait to work with you all. Next, we have a bunch of topics coming up for future shows, including the Michigan Steel Bending, Twin Cities, Slim the Hammerman's birthday party, as well as the upcoming Living Legends and King Kong of Grip competitions. Plus, we'll be tracking the feats that are falling all around the world, and we'll be testing out different software and possibly adding video and images to the YouTube episodes. Point is, there's a lot of great stuff coming your way, so make sure you do the following. First off, you got to subscribe to the channel. Just hit subscribe here by this video, and while you're at it, slap the bell so you get notifications on your mobile device as well as an email notification every time a new video goes up. Next, make sure to give this show a thumbs up. Alan, James, and I are doing this for free to cover the sport we love, plus Juji and Tom are taking time out of their days for all of us as well, so show us some love and hit that like button. Next, as you listen to the show, if there's anything you'd like to comment on, then go right ahead, brother. Put something in the comments section. We might ask you a question. Go ahead and give us your thoughts. Maybe we said something wrong. Go ahead and correct us. Did we miss something big? Let us know. Don't hold back and leave a comment today. And by all means, brothers and sisters, share this video on your favorite forums, Facebook, and across your social media platforms, because the first rule of grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport. Now, without any further delay, let's get started with some questions. And I'm first. Juji, everybody's going to want to know some biometrics. So you got to tell us, what are your hand dimensions? Do you have your hand length, palm size, thumb angles, anything like that, dude?
Okay, I got one measure, but I'm also going to run downstairs and grab my fanny pack and get my actual tape measure, because I want to know how I stack up against you, Jedd.
Yeah.
So the first thing is that I have to buy special latex gloves online to do any sort of work for cooking, industrial applications, or anything like that, painting, because the one-size-fit-all gloves that you can buy in like Home Depot or Lowe's does not fit me, and they usually tear. And now I got my tape measure here. So how do I measure my hand?
Well, generally what you do is you look at the wrist area. You look for that crease. There's going to be a crease in your skin, and that's like your 0 point. And then you measure out to the end of the longest finger, which I'm assuming is going to be your middle finger, unless you're like really, really weird. I already think it's weird enough that you got to buy special latex gloves for painting. What are you painting with, dude? Are you painting with hazardous materials or what?
There's just no reason getting paint on your hands, I guess.
Oh.
Or handling raw meat, when you're cooking. From that crease to the top of my middle finger, when my hand is stretched out, is about 8 1/4.
So that's a good hand right there. That's a good hand. People are going to want to know that. Yeah. What about how far? Measure your palm real quick, dude. What kind of a palm thickness do you have? Because I imagine that's probably a key factor in your latex glove sizing.
So this is going across, like supinate my hand, and then I'm looking at my palm. I'm just measuring across from the biggest point.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's about 4 inches.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. My left hand, are both your hands the same size?
Oh, yeah. I think so. Do people have different sized hands? Is that a thing?
I do, actually. My left hand is actually a 1/4 of an inch longer. I've got like an 8 3/4 inch left hand and then an 8 1/2 right.
That's kind of weird. No, mine is the same size.
Yeah.
Yeah, my left is bigger, too, than my right, unfortunately.
But do that. Yeah. Hit me with that palm measurement thing again. Where are we measuring at? Because 4 inches, that doesn't sound gigantic to me for some reason. Where are we measuring from?
That's what she said.
Just the width, just the widest portion of the width. Widest.
Oh, at the wrist.
Palm.
Okay.
No, not at the wrist. Like through the center of your hand. Like if you were reading my palm, then you would see that I've got a couple arches and slashes, and I don't know what the terminology is, but when you're grabbing someone's hand on an arm wrestling table or in a handshake, a lot of times you can tell that they've got a broad hand.
Sure.
Hey, Jedd, have you ever gotten into palm reading?
Did it sound like I had?
I think so. You could totally pull it off. I mean, I'm fooled right now. You're saying a lot of things here. I'm starting to wonder if you're going to be able to identify my zodiac or whether I'm a self-motivated person or all these other things about my hand size just over this call.
Arches and slashes, bro. Arches.
Yeah, arches and slashes.
You figure that palm size out yet, Alan?
I did. Yeah, I'm actually also at the 4 inch mark. I was just surprised because I would have figured, my hands lengthwise are just a shade under, like 7.5. So I figured you guys would have had me beat by a pretty big margin in the girth part of things there.
Girth. That's where it's at.
I like that we're comparing sizes. This is great.
I wonder if you can measure around your palm going towards the back of it and kind of like measuring your bicep to see the size that way. Mine's 10 inches that way.
I'm betting on you and James kill us all because of all that table time. Because I remember from both. First off, I wanted to say, James, I don't remember you being so massive the last time I saw you. Like, your arms were looking like pretty freaking big, dude. Like, the heavy thick bar rows are really paying off, I think. I mean, you were looking really thick compared to, like, when I saw you last at SJ4.
Well, thanks, Jedd. I mean, I'm heavier, unfortunately. I don't think it's all muscle. I mean, fat don't flex or whatever. But I've obviously been I've been working really hard. We'll put it that way. And I have a few arm strength related goals that I want to reach very soon. So I haven't been shy with the food. We'll put it that way. I probably should be soon though, because I'm starting to have to catch my breath when I bend over to tie my shoes. So that's not a good sign.
That doesn't have anything to do with grip strength, James. It doesn't matter. It doesn't increase your grip. Who cares? No,
but Juji, I don't know if you remember, in one of the videos you and I did together, we compared hand size. But it wasn't like a length thing. Like, we did a length thing, and yours were longer. Yours are longer, all right? But we also did we did like a little width thing. We did like a little, and I think I was a little wider in the palm than you were. But and very much like you and Jedd, I can't put on latex gloves, so they always rip, and it's a frustrating experience. So
basically, what you're saying is none of us are going to get away with it. We're all going to get caught red-handed.
Yeah, well, there's that, and also, like, sure, if I'm cooking, I just handle the raw meat, I guess. Builds character.
Yeah.
So, and immune system. Just handle the raw meat and chicken. Little salmonella never killed anyone. So I got a question about grip strength related stuff. If it's okay to go there, Jedd.
Go for it, bro.
Grip Genie, what is the goal now? Because the last time I talked to you and Tom, Tom gave me a lot of information about, switching gripper manufacturers and such. But are you comfortable talking about the goals of Grip Genie at this point?
Yeah, I'm comfortable talking about the goals of Grip Genie. One thing that I'd like to go ahead and state is Tom is in Las Vegas right now. He's playing poker, so he's in a different time zone. He might come in at any given moment on this call. He is the second special guest, but he is the CEO of Grip Genie, so he's the one that makes the decisions. He's the guy that's moving the company along. He's the visionary. So he is the one that has the best answers to that question, and especially the manufacturing, the sourcing, the actual day-to-day groundwork operations. My job in the company is, well, I'm the grip, I'm the athlete, so to speak. I'm the guy that actually talks with the people about grip training and works with it, and I got the forearms, so to speak. But yes, I do play a part. I do play a part in the operations of the company as well. I just don't want to overstep his role or understate his role, because he is the brains behind it and the growth of the company. But the goal is to, put grip tools in hands of people that don't already have them in their hands. There's a lot of grip manufacturers out there, and there's a lot of people that make quality stuff, and we want to participate and jump in as well, because what's the first rule of the grip training, Jedd?
You tell everyone. You tell everyone
right.
about grip.
And one way of telling people about grip is by putting a grip tool in their hand and getting them to get a feel for it and to get an idea of, hey, what's their hand size? How do they stack up? What's their future in this, and what can it add into their training and their life, and what are they missing out on if they're not getting into grip? So, creating a company is very obvious, in my opinion, first step in doing that and spreading the grip gospel, as you speak. So that's the number one goal of Grip Genie, is just spreading grip awareness.
Sure, and you guys have you have one thing going for you that I think even companies like Iron Mind don't have, is that you can really be more mainstream. Your channel is a great vehicle for that. You put grip tools into the world's strongest man, several of the world's strongest men, and make videos about it. You've done videos with groups of people who've never been exposed to grip tools in New York, and the recent one at World's Strongest Man, where I saw you met Anson and my training partner Porkchop as well. So so yeah, I think doing those videos as well, I think is really going to grow Grip Genie and the sport of grip, hopefully. So
well, thank you very much. It's been really fun, and when we first started doing grip training, the thing is that we work with so many different athletes on so many different fields and so many different sports and just experience levels. We're lucky that we get to work with so many different people, but it's hard to really find a good measuring stick of relatability between a lot of these guys. We needed something, so grip training, it's like you don't have to warm up super hard for it to get going on it. It's safe, in my opinion. It's very safe just to have someone. We took grip tools to a mall, and we just said, hey, if you can lift 150 pounds, we'll give you something for free. And just people can jump in and try it and see where they're at. And then you'll see the same guy come back a few times to try it and want to add a little bit of weight. And you'll say, oh, it's okay. That guy likes this. See, it's fun to see that happen, and people get into it, and they want to know more about it. And it's just something that you can just jump into and do for fun. Just for example, it's hard to superset. I'm grilling outside, I'm cooking meat on the grill, and I can actually do a pretty decent grip workout in between, tending to the grill. You can't really do that with a lot of other things. And not to say grip training is easy, because it's not. If it was easy, why isn't everyone doing it if they know about it? There's a lot of people who know the benefits of grip strength training, and they know, relatively speaking, how to grab something and try some things, but they don't do it. Why? Why not? Yeah. If it was easy, why aren't you doing it?
I have a product idea for you. Just throwing it out there now. So you talk about grilling and supersetting that with grip. This is an opportunity to make some gloves, some latex gloves, if you will, with some chalk already inside of them, set of the talcum powder. Oh, you're chalked up and ready to go. You flip that burger, you're off to it, and you could make them indestructible. They'd be like Juji's gold coin gloves. You know, slap those babies on, handle your meat, go over and bang out some grip. What do you think? There's 3 guys on the call right now that'll be all over this, man.
That sounds so perverted.
Handle your meat.
Handle your meat and bang out some reps.
Bang out some reps.
We're all 12-year-olds. That's all there is.
Well, I like it anyway.
Well, thanks, Alan. I'm gonna pass it along, but I'm secretly gonna write it down. You're gonna see it come out. We're gonna make a bunch of money off of it.
Sure.
You're in here first,
That's
folks.
why Tom, as soon as
you heard it here first.
Table. Yeah. Well, Jedd, your turn, I believe.
No, let's go to Alan. Alan's got something to throw at him.
Yeah. All right. So, where was the origin of the name Jujimufu? I've never heard that explained.
Okay, it's I made it. Okay, I made it when I was 13 years old. So you remember America Online, Alan?
Yep.
You remember
Alan has no idea what you're talking about right now.
No, I do. This goes back a long ways, but I do. Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I would have thought there's a big enough age difference between us that you wouldn't have known what that was. But all right.
Oh no! I remember the little yellow cartoon character that popped up on the screen to let you know you're ready to go after you heard the dial up and everything. You know, the whole 56K modem screeching out its tune. Yeah, had to change. He had to ask someone in my house, like, "Hey, can I unplug the phone to use the internet? Because it's the same thing. You know, no one's going to be able to call while you're on the internet." I remember all that. But my screen name was John Call 13, and 13 was how old I was. I was 13 years old. And when I turned 14 years old, I was like, I need a new screen name because I'm not 13 years old anymore, and I don't want my real name. I want something cool. So I tried to come up with cool names for like half an hour, and all of them were taken. When a name is taken, it adds a number to it. I was like, I don't want to be like a number. I don't want to have a number in my name. I want something that's just a cool name. So I sat there for almost an hour maybe just trying names that were taken. I was surprised so many names were taken back then, actually. It's so silly to think about in retrospect. But maybe I wasn't creative enough, but I got really frustrated and just typed in Jujimufu, just like frustrated. It was Jujimufu, and it logged me in. I was like, oh, okay, well, that one wasn't taken, I guess. I guess I'm Jujimufu. And yeah, I started using that name on the internet, on forums, bulletin boards. I started a website, and, you know, well, people know me as Jujimufu, you know, because I've been posting here as Jujimufu. So, you know, if your nickname is Napalm, you know, for example, and you have it for a little while, it's like, do I change my nickname? Because all these people already know me by this name. So, you know, it's just, sure. I got stuck with it. So 20 years ago, I made up Jujimufu, and it's been my curse.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
And score one in the column for psychology, because Jujimufu was created through an act of free association. That is tremendous. Who knew that Jujimufu, the origins, the etymology of Jujimufu, was a product of free association? So,
or frustration, depending on how you're looking at it. But you know, in all seriousness, though, I'm lucky that I'm sort of lucky I got stuck with the name, because it's such a stupid name that I can't take myself too seriously. And I think, you know, growing up with that name on the internet and, you know, getting known and posting videos under that name, it's just so like, how could a guy named Jujimufu be like a badass? It's just like, so I kind of have a sense of humor about myself that just kind of built through the name. It's like, I can't be too serious about this because I'm Jujimufu. You know, so it's kind of protected me. It's kind of protected me in a way, keeping my ego in check here and there.
Well, sure. And, you know, I think it goes along with the whole OK theme, which I've talked to you and Tom about how much I like that theme. You know, there's sort of like this underlying theme underneath it as well, that you know, here's this guy that doesn't take himself too seriously, but he takes things seriously enough to be good at them, and he'll step out of his comfort zone to try new things.
That's right.
And I think that's a great message to send to anybody, and it's a good thing that it's getting out there to people.
Nice. Hey.
Yeah, that's a good point to branch off of that. I didn't realize that you even did like actual grip training until I met you in Philadelphia. At that point, I thought you had only done like guest spots at some of Ode's competitions, or maybe even just one of Ode's competitions. I was extremely impressed with how well you did in Philadelphia. So, yeah, like what James just said, where you don't take yourself too seriously, but seriously enough to do well at things, and also step out of your comfort zone. I think that was really impressive to me.
Yes, thank you. It's been speaking of Ode's arm lifting event that he has at Expos, that was actually how I got into grip. So 2016 at the Anaheim Fit Expo, he was over there, and I remember Martins Lises was there, and he had long hair at the time, and I just remember everyone was there, and they're like, hey, you should come over here and just try this. I was like, I'm not entered into the competition. I don't know, can I just jump in? They're like, yeah, you can just jump in. We'll put your name in there, and you'll be in the roster. I was like, oh, this is really nice. They're just going to let me just do this, So I did, and I'm getting to know them better, and I'm talking to them. They're teaching me how to do the lifts before all my attempts, and I'm like, hey, I'm not too bad at this. I'm okay at this. This is a lot of fun. And they're showing me all the different tricks, like how to put your thumb in on the hub and different ways to chalk up things and not to use too much chalk in certain instances, and all these like little tips and tricks and things. I was like, this is super fascinating, and I'm really enjoying this. And then, after that, I got some grip tools, and, before you know it, that's it. I'm just doing grip training, setting up a pegboard in my garage like everyone else with all the grip tools hanging on it, like, hey, look at this. It was my collection.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing that's pretty cool is like your videos with Martins, the ones that were from the training hall, and the ones that you guys did at the gym fort. You guys have a very similar kind of energy, very positive energy. And I'm curious, if you were like that growing up, did you always have that sort of verve, that real positive energy, that just that excitement about you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, minus like a couple of years in my early 20s when I was probably a douche or something. I think everyone goes through a bad phase in their life. I think mine was like 22 to 23. Those 2 years are not too great for me. But other than that, yeah, this has been my natural predisposition, is just to kind of be this way. So yeah, the energy, so to speak, has been like this for most of my life. Yes, thank you. But hey, speaking of Martins, I actually got a claim to fame here. I tied him in one grip event. So I think that's pretty impressive considering how insane he is at this stuff. He was pulling a Excalibur lift, and I was in the expo, but I was busy all day long, so I couldn't compete, so I was super fresh, and I ran over there at the end. I was like, hey, let me just do this one. I just want to do the Excalibur lift. It's all I have time for, and, I think I'm fresh. I can do this. So I think what the weight on the bar was 273. We both pulled it, and none of us can go higher than that with whatever the Excalibur handle was. They're all a little bit different, but that was the weight we pulled, and I was able to tie him on something. I was like, I haven't beat you on anything yet that involves grip, Martins, but I tied you on one thing. So I'm pretty happy about that. That was a thrill.
That's cool. When did you know you were strong?
I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I just wonder if some of this stuff just sort of works out for no reason. I'm like, I don't know why I'm able just to put on some rollerblades and deadlift as much weight. There's some carryover from something I've done that just sort of does something here for me. I don't know why I'm getting away with all this crap, but it's working, so I'm going to go with it.
I was going to ask you about that actually, because and I don't want to bogart the whole interview here, but you've done some things and just from the tricking and all the athletic stuff that you've done, I mean, you have sort of the durability and the pliability of like a gymnast or a stuntman or something like that. But have there ever been situations where you were actually scared when you were filming a segment?
Oh, yeah. So Tom wanted to do something in a video about a month and a half ago. It wasn't too long ago, where there's some old-time strongman feat where you get run over by a car. You just go over their abs, and you have the boards that kind of slant up on either side, I think, and none of us had really done the research, and he was super confident that we should all do it and that it would be easy, that there'd be no problem. And thank gosh my wife came home in time because she's a physician assistant, and she was like, no, this is a really bad idea. Let me explain why you're gonna hurt yourself doing this. And so having her show up in time before we started trying to run each other over with a car just to test our abdominal strength or something, we ended up just rolling 400-pound Atlas stones on top of each other or something and holding it there to test. And that was enough for me to be like, I was like, this is bad enough as it is. I don't even want to know what's going to happen with a car. So, yeah, that scared the crap out of me, and we didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, would you say that Sam is ultimately supportive of what you're doing? I mean, she seems indifferent at times, but do you think overall that she's been very supportive of what you do, other than getting run in a car, you know?
I wouldn't say very supportive, but she's been supportive.
Yeah, supportive would be more like driving a bunch of nails into a piece of wood and laying that over top of them before the car pulled over.
Yeah, better traction, right? That's part of the way to make it work. Did you actually look at the pictures of the old time strongmen doing this? You didn't see the nails they were hiding in their abs.
I think Jedd does something like that, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, I got a better nails. Oh yeah.
He has an Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Jedd has an Iron Maiden in the back of his gym. He jumps in it. Yeah, hey, some guys have ice baths. Jedd Johnson has an Iron Maiden.
That's from Arm Assassin Strength Shop.
That's it.
Yo, Juji, what did you do before lifting? Did you do any organized sports, football, baseball, anything like that?
I got into all this through Taekwondo. So when I was 13 or 14, I did Taekwondo, and I got into acrobatic stuff. It's called tricking is what it's called. I just found videos on the internet of these people doing this stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that too. So I just started going out in my backyard and throwing flips and kicks and tricks and all that stuff, just copying them. I'd go watch them, videos of them, and hit pause play on Windows Media Player over and over again and look at, hey, where's their foot pointing before they jump? Where's their head? Where are they looking before they jump? I'd study the moves, and I'd go out and teach myself. And so that was my main background. I only started weightlifting when I was 18 because I wanted to make that better. I was like, none of these people that are doing the tricks, the flips and stuff, all the martial artists, they don't lift weights. But every athlete in the world that's a professional lifts weights. They all do strength training. So why would I not do that? So I started lifting weights to improve that, but I did too much because I liked it so much. It was so much fun. I put on too much size, and I was like, oh well, I'd rather be big and have half of my old moves than not be big at all. Because being big is pretty cool. Being strong is cool. So I liked it all. So now I'm in my early 30s, and I can do everything. I still practice my flips and my tricks and stuff, and I lift weights and do bodybuilding workouts because I want to maintain a certain appearance, so to speak, and I just enjoy doing arm workouts. and then I was grip training as well. That's been recent. I started doing grip training about 2 or 3 years ago, so I'm still a noob, so to speak.
Cool. So no baseball, no basketball, no football, nothing like that. Conventional sports.
No, none of that. No.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
No, everything's been non-team sports, non-organized.
Yeah. Well, nothing wrong with that.
Oh.
What did you do professionally before you started getting into, full-time YouTube and all the traveling and stuff you're doing?
Oh, I have a college degree, a bachelor's of science and biology, and a minor in chemistry. And I originally, when I started college, the reason I went for that degree was because, I talked to a counselor in my college, and they're like, you want to do what? I was like, it's something maybe related to diet, nutrition, exercise, that kind of stuff, because that's what I'm into. He was like, just get a biology degree, and then you can specialize as you get closer to graduation. Well, what happened is I got closer to graduation and realized that those degrees don't really do much. It's harder to get a job with them. So I just went for the hard science courses, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll just be like working as a lab technician or something in biotech. And what ended up happening was I got picked up by an equipment manufacturer for biotech industry, and I worked that job for 7 years before I quit and started doing, social media fitness and YouTube full time.
Sure. Nice. I never would have guessed that. That's really interesting.
I'm glad it's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people don't know. I worked at a day job for 7 years and have a college degree and stuff, but it was hard. It was a little difficult quitting my day job at first because I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I was like, this isn't really that hard. There wasn't that much work to do, so I spent large portions of the day, building my website, doing social media stuff. It's like I sit in my office, like, yeah, so it's been a lot. I got paid. I was already getting paid doing what I'm doing now, only through a different way. It was kind of not very ethical, but hey, I did the work they wanted me to do when they had it, but they can't just sit there and make sure that I'm doing stuff all day long because they don't always had stuff for me to do. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The company was great. The people were great, but by the end of it, I was making so much more money doing what I'm doing on the side. My side hustle was, I was like, I just did spreadsheet math. I was just like, making so much more money doing this other stuff now and commuting to my job 1 hour every day and, living in a different city and having to go live there every other week and had a lot of other things I had to do to maintain this job. I just did the math. I was like, this job's costing me too much. I'm just going to quit, and this is going to work itself out because I can't really grow my side hustle, so to speak, my social media work and my businesses and my videos and stuff if I'm still doing this, 25 hours a week or something.
And it's not like you guys don't work too, I think the misconception is that like you and Tom are only just out there having fun all the time, and it's like, I've been to the gym forts and you guys have a lot of irons in the fire. I've seen you and Tom in action. You guys you work some long days. I know you have, Brian and you have Bo. You have good old Bosif there helping you guys out with the Grip Genie stuff. But it's a lot that you guys do. Maybe you could take the listeners through sort of your average work day.
Okay, yeah. Well, I feel like the difference between like being employed at my old job and being self-employed now doing this type of work is, there's certain luxuries that I have now, like my sleep. I never have to, now I'm such a wuss now. If I at my old job, there's 5 out of 7 days of the week where I have to be sleep deprived. Now it's like if I'm deprived by sleep by one day, I'm like, oh man, we had to get up early today. It's so hard. Yeah. We work late sometimes, but and just being able to eat anytime I want and just organize my schedule the way I want. But it's the amount of work I do now is maybe like 7 to 10 times higher on an average day compared to before. Just thinking about like what was the amount of actual quality work that I got done at my old job compared to like what I'm actually doing now, like actual like real things produced. It's a magnitudes level higher now. It's like the actual stuff I'm getting done is higher. And just because it's like you're working on stuff that you like, that you care about, doesn't necessarily mean it's not work sometimes. It's like dragging my feet on this thing. It's like
love, yeah.
It's a labor of love. But there's always parts of labor of love that you don't want to do, though. It's like I'm just dragging my feet through this crap. Like, it is all my fault, though. Like, I invented this work. It's like, this is my job. I'm the one that had the idea to make this project and to create this. Jedd, you write lots of programs, and you have clients, and you do all these articles and tutorials and stuff, and there's got to be, times when you're just like, do I want to finish this damn thing? Because I don't want to work on it right now, even though you invented it. You're like, I'm the one that came up with the idea, now I got to finish it,
Yeah, that's we could talk about that for about an hour.
Oh yeah, we could.
My background was in the meat plant, and it was like I felt like I was about ready to murder someone when I left there. So like I was overworked and very frustrated with the people I was working with. So it was a breath of fresh air to come and do my own thing. And I was like, I guess maybe a difference between what you experienced and what I experienced was like I had already developed a tremendous work ethic. So it was nice to just not have to deal with people anymore. So, but yeah, and truthfully, well, And the thing I like doing most now is working with people. Like, actually, the online coaching and my gym people, like, I love doing it now. But I could not handle working with the people that I was in the plant with. It's funny, just some different circumstances can change up a lot. So.
Yeah, I guess what you're saying is working with people isn't working with people. Lifting a weight isn't lifting a weight. It's just like there's so many things that go into what that actually means.
Yeah.
It can make it hell or it can make it great.
Yes.
Well, sure.
Yes, no doubt about it.
You can be working in an organization, and it doesn't feel so much like working with people as much as it feels like working in a corporate structure. Whereas if you do something individual like you guys are both doing, you have to be more self-motivated because it's your ship, but you're working in a one-on-one capacity so you can build rapport and such.
Yeah.
Plus just the fact that, like, in a work setting, or at least the work setting that I was in, I was trying to make people do what they didn't want to do. Yeah. And now, some people don't always want to do what I put in their programs and things like that, but they understand that it's getting them to the point where they want to be. So it's a totally different situation. It really is.
And also you actually care about the things that you're helping people with. The programs and the trainings. Like, I actually give a shit about this stuff. So, even if I don't want to do this right now, or, I don't feel like typing this response, it's like, ultimately, I like this. Like, I care about this stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, you can burn out a little bit on anything, especially things that you love if you do too much of it.
Right.
I mean, I got the sense.
I know on my side, like, I have so many options of the stuff that I can do every single day that, like, it's easy to say, well, I don't want to do this today, but I'll do this instead. And then you get kind of that breath of fresh air, and then when you come back to that other thing you didn't want to do, you've kind of got like almost like a mental deload period. So
I feel like that's been the hardest thing for me to learn, though, actually, is that mental deload. It's just like you want to keep going, but you'll just spin your wheels after a while, and sometimes forcing yourself to rest. It's like, do I really need this rest? It's like, I don't feel like I did a lot yesterday, but if you actually write down everything you did, it's like, oh, no, I actually got a lot of stuff done. I was beating myself up over the whole time because I didn't do this and this, I guess. I don't know what's going on other than the fact that I do need to rest today. That's been the hardest thing is learning how to turn it off and actually spending good quality rest time. Like, I don't know, sitting. Yeah. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another, I'll tell you, and then I'll quit talking about myself, is like one of the personal motivators for me is I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and I know that, like, Vince McMahon, the guy that runs the WWE, is like a workaholic and works like 20 hours a day and then trains and then takes like a nap before the next day. So I know that, like, no matter what I do as far as like workload, I'm never going to hold a match to him. So that kind of puts things into perspective, because when I feel like I'm working too hard, I know that there's other people that are always working harder. So, and that goes the same for grip sport competition, really. You think that you're putting all the work in, and then someone else is, 5 pounds ahead of you on a certain lift, or they're lifting the iron grip monster with ease the first time they see it after you've been training on that son of a bitch for 10 years.
We should visit that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. We should, actually. How in the fuck did you lift that iron grip monster so easy the first time that you saw it?
Wait a minute, what?
The iron grip monster is okay, so you don't even know what it's called. That makes me feel
it's not a big deal to me.
Fantastic.
No, wait. Hold on. I'm so confused. I remember the inch dumbbell. The first and only time I ever lifted one was with your help. What are you talking about, though?
Okay. All right. So where was this video, James?
It was at my house.
Was it at your house?
At my house. Yeah.
So there's this block weight that's a half 125 rubber coated block weight from the company called Iron Grip. It's rubber coated. It's hard as shit to lift. It's like one of the hardest things that I've ever done. I've only done it ever twice in my life, and you smoked it, I think, on the first time that you ever saw the thing.
Yep, he picked it up twice in my garage. And on the
I don't even remember this. I'm sorry, bro. I don't even remember. Did we weigh it to make sure it's the right weight?
It had 125 on it, so I believe James. So I think we're good. I don't think we needed to weigh it.
It's like a 62-pound block weight. That I don't know if you remember. I had 6 10s on a pipe sitting there, and you couldn't pick up the 6 10s on the pipe, but you walked over to that and you picked that up. And we were all like, what? We were all like, and you were just like, I don't know, did I do something? You know?
6 10s on a pipe, most people is like exponentially easier than the Iron Grip Monster. Like, there's probably been 50 people that have done 6 10s on a pipe, and only about 5 that have lifted the Iron Grip Monster.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
He doesn't even remember.
Okay, great. I'm going to have to write this one down. I have to write it down right now that I've done this lift because I don't remember it. It's great. Thank you.
Half 125. It's very impressive, dude. Seriously. I've lifted mine. A guy named Brent Barbie lifted it. I want to say Andrew Derniat lifted it. And that's all I can really think of that's lifted the Iron Grip Monster that I have. I got it right from Ode. Ode sent it to me. He kind of donated it to my gym. I don't know where you got yours, James.
Well, it's not mine. It's either Bob or Jason's, and they got it from Nate Browse. And Gary's got it right now because it's driving him nuts. Because Gary's hands are every bit as big as Juji's. Gary can't lift the damn thing, and he even built a special tool to train for it, like a block, like a wood block. And he's been working on that, and he hasn't picked it up yet. So when someone walks over to him and is like, hey, what's this? Derp, and they just pick it up.
Unbelievable. It's unheard of, dude. It really is. It's a very, very impressive feat. When I saw it, my jaw hit the floor. So, definitely congratulations. It's a great feat, no doubt.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to piggyback on that a little bit, you guys see impressive things all the time because of the nature, the impressive nature of the athletes that you guys do videos with. This is a difficult question, but what would be the most impressive thing that you think you've witnessed somebody do?
In person or on the internet?
Yeah, in person.
Which one? In person?
Yeah, in person. I'm not talking about on the internet, it could be some Brad Castleberry fake weight bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm talking about in person, something that you've seen.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to pick just one thing, and I think everyone's different. What impresses different people, depends on their experience levels with different things and how they relate to it. So, I think the one thing that's always stuck out in my mind, honestly, is, I was given the chance to do a workshop for, stretching and acrobatics and stuff at a parkour academy. And the guy that ran the gym, he's a couple of years older than me. So he's he looks rather old for his age, actually. He looked kind of like he was 40 when he was 30-something. But I don't know why I remember that about him. But it's just something about the guy, the way he moved and the way he could just hanging out with him for a couple of days, he would just do a flip off something, or he would just jump across a bridge and onto the other side and land on the rail, and just cold all the time, just in public all the time. I was like, it got excessive after a while. I was like, you don't need to do that all the time. But he wasn't. I don't even think he was showing off. He just did that. It's just what he did, and just to be able to exist and move that way. And just jump from. Have you ever seen parkour athletes jump off buildings and just roll and jump from one ledge? Just this guy in particular stood out in my mind as this is one of the most impressive and crazy things I've ever seen. It's just watching this guy just move with me through a space and just do things that make no sense and just make decisions on just to move this way around it. I mean, you could just walk around the fence, or you could just grab onto it and throw one leg over and the other leg over. This guy's just movement was this is inhuman. I don't understand. It's like a different planet. That was probably one of the most impressive things I've seen. If I'm having to think of something strength related, I don't know, because maybe maybe seen Clarence Kennedy. He's an Olympic lifter.
Yeah.
He's an Irish. Just watching him lift weights is pretty scary to see in person. It's kind of like the sheer amount of this is a type of work effort, and he'd do like 5x5 squat workout, and he'd rest like 13 minutes exactly in between sets. He had a little stopwatch in his hand, like an analog, like the little hand and hour thing goes around it. And he'd sit there in a chair, and that was his stop. It was his timer. It was a wristwatch, and he'd sit there for 13 minutes exactly and do nothing, and then he'd get up, and just the amount of like intensity in he should have failed on rep 3, but he'd get the last two reps of these sets every single time, and the energy you felt throughout the whole room was like, don't move, like you're just on the edge of your seat, like don't breathe, like don't make a noise, like the room is completely quiet, there's no music playing, it's just him like doing sets and just making his grunting noises, after every rep. It was cool. There was the energy. It was the energy you got from it. I was like, this is a scary amount of force he's putting into these reps. That was pretty impressive. But what about you guys?
Oh, the most impressive things that we've seen? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. I mean, you guys have been around a little longer than me, and you've seen other things as well. So I want to, share some stories here.
Oh, geez. I mean, I couldn't even – I'd say the most impressive people that I've had a chance to sit and train with were Robert Najedli and Dennis Rogers at Dennis's place in Houston. I mean, just to watch those guys – I mean, look, I'm not a great steel bender. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not great at it. I like to do it. I'm decent at it. I mean, I'm, passable at it. But to watch those guys Robert's not even 120 pounds, and he's bending horseshoes that are way above my pay grade. And he's going through decks of cards like nothing. And Dennis is just so explosive. And Dennis is, how old is Dennis now, Jedd? Is he about 62, 63?
Yeah, he's right around there, I think. I think that actually came up.
And he is just so explosive. When he goes to bend or break something, it's just like, it happens so fast and with such force. It's something that, you have to see to believe. To really, I worked out with those guys for 2 days last March, and it was like for 8-9 hours. We'd stop and get lunch, and then the rest of the time we were, bending and breaking and lifting stuff. And then the day after that, I went out to Austin to arm wrestle. So I made sure I just absolutely destroyed myself on that trip. But I've seen a lot of guys do unbelievably impressive stuff. So I don't want to leave anyone out, but I think that's the thing that stood out to me the most. I don't know about you guys.
Alan,
I'd actually give I'd give the nod to Jedd on that one with the inch clean. Actually, that was probably one of the most impressive things I've seen in regards to grip strength in general.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep, that rate's right up there. Oh, sure.
Yeah. I remember watching you walk across the gym do its farmer's carries with 2 inches.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty much a PR for me, I think, or at least a high water mark for a few years, anyway.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that for like 2 weeks before basically since we set that up until the night we did it, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to go for is a double-inch farmer's walk PR.
The great thing about picking something like that as well is it's just so visual. It's like there's 2 Thomas inch dumbbells in each hand. It's like it's not just adding like an extra 2.5 pounds on a loading pin or something. It's visual. It's like you have one in each hand and you're moving across the room. Nice,
Yeah.
I think
for
me,
a great video.
What's that?
The video that you guys did together was a great video and was so informative. I've been doing grip stuff for a long time, and I learned stuff from that video. And not to mention, one of my guys that I train with, Pork Chop, he learned basically how to set in a week, just practicing and watching you show Juji how to set in that video.
Right. Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. So And his gripper game stepped up just from a week of watching that video over and over again.
Cool.
So yeah, I love that video. That was a great video you guys did.
Juji, you ever hear of a name, Chad Woodall? Chad Woodall?
No, I haven't.
Well, we were talking about the most impressive, spectacles or whatever. I would say I can't really point to one. Maybe the contest that he ran in 2009. It was like the Woodall Annual Grip Challenge or something like that. It only happened once, but it was absolute domination. I think he won every event, but the biggest, craziest thing was the medley that day. Like, I think he got 20 out of 20 of the challenges. And some of them, they were almost all world-class challenges, like no gimme events. Are you familiar with how a medley works in a grip contest, John?
Is it like the Mighty Mitts challenge that Thornex put on, something like that?
Kind of. Generally, with a medley, you've got at least 10, but sometimes up to 40 challenges that you have to try to lift or complete or load or close or bend inside of a 60-second to 5-minute time limit. So you've got to be able to not only be good at many facets of grip strength, but also there's like bending and maybe card tearing or phone book tearing in there. And you got to accomplish all that stuff within, a pretty demanding time limit. So I think on this particular day it was like a 4-minute time limit for 20 challenges. And that's actually a lot of time for 20 challenges, but these were 20 extremely hard challenges. And I think he got all of them. So Chad Woodall was probably, this close to becoming like an NBA basketball player. He was excellent college basketball player, phenomenal athlete, probably could have become a professional strongman competitor, but he ended up going into grip training for several years. I want to say like 03 to 06 was when he was competing or something. Maybe it was maybe a little bit longer. I guess into 09 it was. So maybe 06 to 09 he was competing. But he's easily one of the best guys ever from North America. And probably he could walk onto any competition next weekend and win. He just doesn't go to competitions anymore. He's more of a family man and more just hanging out in his garage and dominating. But
how old is he?
I think he's a little older than me, so maybe 42.
Okay.
Maybe in that range, maybe a little bit older.
I've always been fascinated with with how long you can take grip training, because for me, one of the big worries I have, and I wouldn't say it's a big worry, but it's always there in the back of my mind, like how much longer do I have to be able to do some of the things that I do, and what's my marketability going to be, in 2, 5, 10 years from now, and what can I do to kind of hedge my bet, so to speak, so that I have the best outcome for myself and others, and continue to do what I do, the best I can. I'm going to have to change the way I do some things and stop doing this and start doing more of that. And for me, it looks like grip training, and to a certain extent arm wrestling as well, James, correct me if I'm wrong, has a pretty good outlook in terms of being able to do this as you get a little bit older.
And we're going to leave it right there, ladies and gentlemen, with episode 100 of This Week in Grip. Come back in just a couple of days. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to pick it up right there next time we're here with longevity and grip and arm wrestling. And we got lots more discussion topics coming your way here on episode 100 with Jujimufu and Tom Boyden. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.